During my classroom observations, I saw many different days and times that had different situations. From half days to practice drills, the classroom I observed was very informative. Starting with what I observed through the teacher, the first thing I noticed, the teacher was very observational. She noticed every student and was focused on keeping them focused. Secondly, I never observed a lecture, but something different from when I was in school, they used laptops and iPads to learn. That was where most of their assignments and lectures were held. Lastly, the teacher had complete control of the classroom. Students listened the first time and were on top of their work. All of these observations led me to the term Zone of Proximal Development, or ZPD, which showed what her students could do independently, such as the assignments on their laptops and iPads, and what they could do together, such as the videos and discussions over the videos. Next, school. I saw that it was very organized. There was set schedules for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. This made the passing periods and lunch breaks more organized and not as crowded. Many of the days that I observed were half days, or the classes were shortened to help assist teachers in creating their curriculum. I thought this was very important for the development of the students' learning because the teachers had more time to be able to create the curriculum they are teaching. And like I mentioned in my teacher section, the technology. In chapter 6 of our textbook, it mentions how technology actually helps enhance children's learning and development skills. This brings us into the grades and the subject of the class that I was observing. I noticed that the grades could be viewed through technology. Students could see their grades on their iPads. They were able to get their grades right after an assignment and were also able to view their grades from previous assignments. The subject that I was observing was ancient Greek history. And the one thing about this was the bell work. The bell work actually taught these students Greek words. So there would be Greek words on the board and they would have to guess what it meant. And at the end of the week, all of the words that they would learn during the week were actually written up on the whiteboard. I feel like this actually helped them want to learn more about the subject. Next was the demographics of the classroom. I never really saw a whole lot of group activities. I actually didn't observe any of them. Most of the work was, again, on their technology, on their iPads or on their laptops. There was not a whole lot of group activities. As far as student cliques go, before classes, so during their 4 minutes of passing periods, I saw small groups of friends that would actually talk before class. But when class started, again, that kind of control over the classroom that the teacher had, they would disperse and go to their seats and they would not talk to each other the whole class. Next is kind of what I saw that was important during my observations. I saw, again, recapping, the balance in control and fun in the classroom. So the teacher actually had a lot of balance and control, like I mentioned at the beginning. She had complete control over the classroom. The students would not talk when she was talking. They were eyes up ahead, up at the board whenever she was talking. And as far as the fun in the classroom goes, they did watch a whole lot of videos and also did do a lot of paperwork as far as like coloring and mapping and stuff like that, that I feel like was a kind of control as far as like lectures to actual fun projects that they got to do. Second thing that I thought was important was the group work and the peer groups. So I didn't observe any group work, but one of the days that I actually did come in, they had done group work on one of the days that I didn't get to come observe. But the peer groups were actually super important because I saw how they would connect before class where they had free time, and then when class actually begun, they would disperse and go to their seats and want to learn. They would want to pay attention to the teacher, and I found that very important. My next one was the development of knowledge for the children. So that all goes back to our next one that's actually up here, is the technology in the schools. So I feel like technology has taken a huge stance as far as like how schools are being taught now, how the new students are being taught. And that goes to the development of the knowledge for the children. It is up to them. They are becoming more dependent on how they learn. Next was the setting into the history. So other than the bell work where they actually learn the language in a way, the teacher would also put on music from the time period that they were learning at that moment. And I found that very interesting because during their work, they would actually get to be immersed into the culture in a way because of the music. My next thing that I found important was actually the breaks. So they had a 4-minute passing period, which is different from when I was in high school. We had 5, but they also had a break, a 15-minute break in between, I believe it was 6th and 7th period. And they would get a 15-minute break to snack, to work on homework before class, or to get together with friends or anything like that. And I feel like that was a good mental break for the students instead of just going all day in school for a long period of time. I feel like that was super important. Next was the safety and protection of these students. So I actually got to view an intruder on campus drill, and this was very important because when I was in high school, it was definitely different. We actually had tornado drills because I grew up in Oklahoma and there was a lot of tornadoes. So that was one thing that they, when I talked to the teacher, that they didn't actually do. But the intruder on campus is, world or all over the U.S. We do have to do an intruder on campus drill. But it was super interesting how things have actually changed in that aspect. All the things that I found important, though, all kind of go into the subject of technology. So technology now in schools has been way more of an impact than when I was in high school. When I was in high school, we couldn't even have our phones. Now, kids can have their phones, they can have iPads, they can have laptops, and all of this actually goes into how they learn now. Like I said previously, now lectures and assignments are now all digital. They are all now in technology. And I feel that it is super important now that teachers are aware of this, especially teachers going into it, because if you're not tech savvy, it might not be as easy, but I'm not tech savvy. But as far as technology goes, it has been a big impact on schools, and I saw it a lot in my student observations. Students would have iPads on them 24/7 in the school, and all of it would have their assignments. That was where they would watch videos. That was where they would play games during their breaks, their assignments, any extra credit. They would find their grades on there. They would actually check their emails on there, which is definitely not what I did in high school. But as far as the the technology in schools, it has definitely changed, and that is the most important thing that I saw, that I observed during my student observations. And that is all I have for you. Thank you for watching.